Hi class, my notes have been rewritten so many times. I was under the impression at first that this was also in section 5.2, but it is not. So welcome to 5.3, and 5.3 is similar in the sense that we're factoring trinomials of this type. However, all of the problems we're going to look at in this video have this number not equaling 1. So I specifically have A not equal to 1. The method that we're going to use this afternoon is called slip and slide. There are many different methods to factoring these types of problems, little shortcuts that teachers like me teach their students. Slip and slide is just one. Guess and check is one that I learned where you simply just guess, you see if it works out, and if not, you choose different numbers. Some people like that. If you've been through factoring before and you remember the way you've been taught, some people do grouping, split the middle term, or Tucker T. So all of those are equally valid ways, and if you want to go out on YouTube and search for math teachers looking at different methods, that's fine. We're all going to get the same answer at the very end of the problem. So I just picked this one for this video. Obviously, I don't care which way you prefer. So you do whatever works for you, whatever connects and you understand the best. All right. The steps are a little strange at first, but as you go through the process, it will get easier and more natural. So if you don't get it right away at the beginning, don't freak out. All right, our steps. I probably should have. I will rewrite that same exact problem in just a few minutes. I want to go ahead and put the steps right here. And that way the steps are on the board when I do the first example as well as the second example. So this is the A, the B, and the C. Keep in mind we're not including our variables. The X's don't have any part of this. So in our steps, step 1 is we are going to multiply A times C. So we're going to slip that 10 back to the 7, and we're going to rewrite our trinomial like this. X squared plus 37x plus 10 times 7 is 70. So this just came straight down. All right, so we just jumped it to the back and we multiplied it. Now we are going to factor. I think this method is an easier method of all of them, but you can pick. So how are we going to factor? We need to have two numbers that multiply to 70, that add up to 37. So you might see this right away, but if you need to list all those factors, it's going to be 2 and 35. So we're going to go ahead and do exactly what we did in lesson 5.2. But we can't leave our question like this because this wasn't our original problem. This was. So if I stopped right here and re-multiplied this, I would only get to this step. So since I multiplied A and the C in step 1, I need to divide, I need to undo what I did. So you did this to make this easier. It was a little trick you did to make this look easier, but now you have to undo it. So we're going to divide by 10, divide by 10. All right, this is the hardest part of the whole deal. We need to reduce and slide. Slip and slide. We slipped this 10 to the back, and now we're going to slide it back to the front. But we need to reduce my fraction first. And again, the more you do this, the easier it will seem. So 2 over 10 reduces to 1/5. 35 over 10, take a 5 out of both, reduces to 7/2. We don't want to write our answer with a fraction there. That wouldn't give us our original problem. So we're going to slide that 5 and we're going to slide that 2. 5x plus 1, 2x plus 7. Seems a little weird at first, I'm sure. Let's look at B. The steps are up here. So maybe try it on your own, pause the video after each piece, whatever works for you. Step 1, we're going to multiply those. We're going to factor. So this can be tricky because 24 has 2 ways to come up with 10. 4 plus 6 is 10, and 12 take away 2 is 10. So you need to be careful once again because one needs to be negative and one needs to be positive, so it multiplies to a negative. You cannot, let me rephrase that. You can't choose 4 and 6 because if you chose -4 and -6, it would certainly add to a -10, but it would multiply to a positive 24. So that's not going to work. So we're going to write down x plus 2, x minus 12. Since I multiplied by that 3, to make my problem easier to factor, I need to divide by that 3 to undo what I have done. This cannot be reduced, so the 3 slides to the front. This can be reduced. 12 divided by 3 is just 4, and there's nothing to slide to the front. And if you FOILed this, you would end up with what you started with. Let's erase the steps. You have them now in your notes. And let me write that third problem up here. Oh, this one's the one that was pretty tricky looking. All right, so 24. Don't get too intimidated here. The numbers are more complex, but the method is going to stay the same. All right, so this is the problem that teaches you to look for a GCF, because if you just dive right in and go 24 times 40, you're going to get this really huge number that you're going to have to start looking for factors, and it's not going to work out nicely. And so this has a GCF. What can I pull out of 24, 76, and 40? They're all divisible by 4, and they all have an x I can pull out front. So I'm going to have 6x squared minus 19x plus 10. Remember what we do with that GCF is we just keep rewriting it in the front. So this is what I'm slip and sliding. All right, even ignore that right now if you wish, and I'll bring it back at the end. Don't forget it, but it will come back in our final answer. So this is what I'm slipping and sliding. So I'm going to multiply right here. X squared minus 19x plus 60. I need 2 factors of 60 that come up with 19. Let's notice my signs. It's going to add to a negative, but it's going to multiply to a positive. So my 2 numbers are going to add together. That's not right. Let's do 3 and 20. And then let's do 5 and 12, and then 6 and 10. So 60 has a lot of factors. The answer is just right up here already. How are we going to add 2 numbers and come up with 19? -4, -15. So we're going to say -4. And we're going to say -15. Let me double check that you can still see that in the video. Oh yeah, we're good. Okay. And so since I multiplied by 6 to come up with the 60, I have to undo it. And so this is going to reduce. I'm going to rewrite my work right here so that you can see it a little better, or I can write it a little neater. So 4/6 reduces down to 2/3. 15/6 reduces down to 5/2. Slide that 3. Slide that 2. And now put that 4x back. It's super easy to forget. So if you do tend to forget those things, you can continue to just rewrite that in front of every step if you choose, so it becomes more natural. Another thing I might mention is when I get used to doing these, I don't always write this step down. Sometimes I approach it more like just scribbling in the notes itself. So sometimes I might just switch colors and say, okay, 4/6 reduces down to 2/3, and 15/6, I can take a 3 out, so that reduces down to 5/2, and that eliminates the need to write it out one additional time. But some students, definitely at the beginning and definitely remotely, I'm trying to show you every step. All right, let me clean this up, and you guys try that one. So is there a GCF? Yes, there is. So I'm going to pull not only a 2 out from all 3, but I'm going to pull that x out. So I'm going to have 2 and then the x, oops, almost forgot them, 4x squared plus 11x minus 3. I'm going to multiply the 4 and the 3, so that one can just, there's another option for you, it's just to kind of do a little squiggle so you know it's there without having to rewrite it. And now I'm just going to mess with this. So this 2 does not play a part in that slip and slide. So I have x plus 12 and x minus 1. And since I multiplied by this 4 here, that's what I need to divide by here. So again, there's a good use of color maybe for some of you. And so that way you can see why you're doing what you're doing. And so this is going to reduce to x plus 3. And now, since this is my final step, I'm going to write that 2x right there. And then this cannot be reduced, so the 4 slides in front of the x and gives us that. So again, this is just one method. Other people love this thing called splitting the middle term and grouping, and if you prefer that, then you should watch videos and look at that method, and we all are going to end up with the same answer at the end. But I hope you found this helpful, and have a great rest of your day.